Next question. Explain the effect of the shares repurchase on the percentage shareholding of Bob in each company. Okay. So, now let's see. If we look at Flexi, if I look at Bob, do they give me Bob? Yes, here at the bottom they give me Bob. So they tell me, right, he had so many shares this year, right? Can you see it went down with 150? So last year he had 51%, so he was majority shareholder. This year, now, what is the amount of shares in issue at this stage? They tell you there. The number of shares in issue is 700,000. Can you see it's the 150 they repurchased? So, if I say 283,500 divided the 700 times 100, what's his percentage now? 40.5. So, he went from being a majority shareholder to not a majority shareholder. No, but you need to quote everything. So you need to quote the figures as well. So you say, in Flexi, he was majority. Now he's 40%, so he's lost his status. Okay. So that's going to be 2 ticks. Broom. What happened to Broom? So in Broom, he had 460,000 shares, which is 41%. How many shares is in issue now? Huh? You're going to have to add the 300, ne? So now his shares is 760. Does that make sense to you? So you're going to divide the 760 over the 1.5 million. Ne? So divide 1.5. So it's going to give you more than 50%. So you can say, he had 41, now he's got 50.7. Can you see? He's going to be the majority shareholder. So I give 3 ticks there, but in the end they will just choose 4 ticks to give you 4 marks. Can you guys see how majority shareholding works? Okay. So, next one. Financing and gearing. So now I know this is loan. You guys mustn't even think twice. You immediately know. Now I'm going to talk debt equity and ROTCE immediately. So let's see. The directors of each company have taken deliberate decisions that are reflected in the cash flow statements. Explain the decisions taken by the directors of Broom. Now can you see cash flow? And how these will benefit the company. So how am I going to know what did he do? Now remember I told you, when we look at cash flow, and they're specifically talking finances, you're going to look at shares and you're going to look at loan. So they issued shares, ne, to the value of 1.9 million. Ne? This guy bought shares. Okay. Or did they issue more? They didn't give me. Yeah, there. They tell me. The increase in share capital. You see? So it increased with 2.6. So he only bought 1.9. Other people also bought, in other words. Okay? So you're going to say that they issued shares and they got 2.64 million for it. No, it's an inflow of cash. They decreased the loan, ne, with 400,000. So what influence is this going to have on me? Debt equity. It's going to improve my debt equity ratio, because why? My debt is decreasing and my shareholders' equity is increasing. So I'm going to be more strongly geared. Ne? Doesn't that make sense? So let's see how they marked it. They say an increase in the share capital. There. One decision, one figure. A decrease in the loan figure. Can you see? Can you see they didn't quote here the fixed assets that we bought? Why? Because the question specifically asked for financing. And fixed assets is investing. Okay, can you see easy 4 marks? Ne? This is just for 1 mark. If you didn't write it this way, can you see when you didn't quote figures, you get 1 mark. This is so weird for me always, because they ask the influence. They say then how these will benefit the company. But can you see, they didn't give any mark for that. There's no mark for how it will benefit the company. But what you will say, so that net increase of 240 to total capital, for that sentence there, you'll get 4 marks. How's that possible? Because they tell you, can you see if you say 2640 less 400, it gives you the 2240. And that then you talk about the capital employed, which is she plus loan. So that would be 40. But don't take the chance. Rather break them down, keep it simple. You guys with me? Okay. Explain how the decisions by Flexi affected the risk and gearing of the business. So can you now see? And I want you to please, guys, I'm saying something to you now, and I need you to listen, because they're going to talk about it. If they talk risk, they want you to quote the debt equity. If they talk gearing, they want you to quote the ROTCE. So let's quickly look here. They say, how is it going to affect the risk and the gearing? So quote 2 figures. So you're going to quote debt equity and ROTCE. Can you see here 2 indicators with figures? 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 4 out of 6. But now, how easy is your comment? What are you going to comment here on debt equity? It increased from 0.4 to 0.7. What is this company? It's now a high risk, High risk. If I look at ROTCE, it is now 10.2. What else do they give me? The interest on loan is 13. Can you see? The interest on loan is more than the ROTCE. So now they are negative geared. Okay. You don't even have to quote it in this case. They just give you for the word negative geared. Because for you to get to that, you have to compare. I see you guys are busy dying.